Massive defensive performance from the Golden State Warriors, a masterpiece. They hold the Pelicans to 89 points. Zion Williamson shoots at 25% from the floor. Common denominator, one Draymond Green. Let's talk about his excellence and a 2-0 sweep of the New Orleans Pelicans on today's Locked On Dubs.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So excited we had to stand up for today's live Locked On show. Has nothing to do with a broken chair. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get started with $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win that first $5 bet. You can visit FanDuel.com to get started. This is Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name's Charlie Walter, formerly at 95.7 The Game. That's the flagship of the Golden State Warriors in the Bay Area. Also covered the team in their championship run for CBS News Bay Area, KPIX in the city as well. Joining me today, it is Matt Kolsky, resident of the town, just a Bay Area guy through and through, transplanted into California in his later years in life, mid-years in life, and spent many, many years on the airwaves at 95.7 The Game and KNBR, and even his scribe days way back yonder, right? That's how you got the start, right? The scribe days.
Not necessarily the start, but yeah, did some writing as well. I've done a lot of different things. A man of many talents is a strong word, but I've done a lot of things.
All right, forget the newspaper industry. Vibes going up from here. Immaculate right now. Beat the Pelicans back-to-back games without Steph Curry, without Andrew Wiggins. This team, look, they're playing hard. They're playing together. They're playing with smiles on their faces. Buddy Hield seems like the perfect fit to what we wanted Klay Thompson to be this season, to be the microwave, but not expect to be that Robin. Defense has been incredible. I guess you could kind of nitpick the turnovers in the first half, but then the second half, the Warriors clean it up. Brandon Podziemski's a rag doll, flying all over the place. Trace Jackson-Davis, excellent. Draymond Green, vintage. We're talking about all this on Locked On Warriors. But first thing, how good are the vibes right now, man? How nice are these vibes?
If you're just counting smiles, the Warriors are winning. I mean, everybody is out there with a grin on their face. The bench is going nuts. The way the whole team reacted to that Kuminga move where he absolutely shook the pants off Brandon Ingram at the basket. It's good right now. It's good to be at Chase Center. I can only imagine what it was like being at that game tonight. It is. The vibes are immaculate. It's good times in Warrior World.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can do this without Curry, without Wiggins, without Melton. Most teams, you lose an all-NBA type player in Steph Curry. You lose in his best years, fringe all-star player in Andrew Wiggins. They had a really good defender in D'Anthony Melton. You're screwed, especially against a middle-of-the-pack play-in type team like the Pelicans. Warriors weren't screwed at all. I mean, none of these games were even close. Take out, a 5-minute stretch here and there. Warriors dominated, man.
Yeah, the thing that jumped out to me tonight, I mean, overall defense, you mentioned Draymond, but from that defensive perspective overall, you think about scorers in the NBA today, everybody's over 100 every night, and it was consistent throughout the night tonight. Not one quarter did New Orleans get to 25. The Warriors were just suffocating, and it started with Draymond Green absolutely making Zion's life hell. It was a beautiful thing to watch. Vintage, you said it. Vintage Draymond Green defense. Knocks down some threes for good measure. 5 blocks tonight from Draymond Green. That's why he's a Hall of Famer, And look, when you have talents like Zion and Ingram, there are going to be nights like last night where they go off. And you know what? The Warriors still found a way to win. But if you're good enough defensively, you can force nights like tonight where, Zion was just in hell and Ingram never really got going. And that's what won them this game. 104 is not a great total. by today's NBA standards. Holding the Pelicans to 89 is a great defensive performance.
Yeah, and the Warriors didn't necessarily shoot it well from deep in the game. 34%, 13 of 38. The formula for winning per Chris Mullin, and it's always the formula for winning, right? 30 assists, 20 made three-pointers. Get on the bus, get on the plane. You're probably going to be happy. Today, that number was assist 33. So big check mark in the old assist column for the Warriors. But then the three-pointers, 13 of 38. And it goes to show that the Warriors can win in runaway fashion without two of their best players hitting only 13 three-pointers. They can get it done in a lot of different ways. And today it was not one individual player. 6 of them in double figures. It was Green with 14, Jackson Davis 15, Podziemski 13, Kuminga 16. Anderson had a really nice game after not being able to hit the water with an oar, going 0 for 9 yesterday, 4 of 4 in the game. Had the 5 steals yesterday, was all over the place defensively. Today has 0 steals, but scores himself 10 points. And then Buddy Hield, maybe the most quiet 21 points you'll ever see. But, hey, he leads the way again. Buddy scores. They needed scoring. It's all adding up right now. Competition's going to get stiff here soon, but they look good, man. They look good.
Yeah, I mean, of all those guys you mentioned, Buddy and Pods were the only guys who didn't shoot it well. And, look, on a night where you basically have an 8-man rotation, 6 guys in double figures, and Moses Moody 1 bucket away with 8 is pretty awesome, especially when you consider the 2 most likely double-figure scorers on the roster, you might say, were not playing tonight. I mean, this is the depth. This is the depth in action. But beyond that, they had to defend like an elite defensive team to win this game tonight, and they got the job done.
Don't you find it fascinating that one game, Lindy Waters goes off. He's the storyline. He's inserted into the starting lineup. And then the next game, plays 30 minutes, goes 1 of 5 from the floor, misses some open threes, finishes with 3 points, but still impacts the game. That's kind of what the Warriors have right now. They have a bunch of different role players. And here's the thing. I saw a video today. It was Jay Billis. I don't know if he was talking to Duke or talking to a bunch of YMCA guys. I don't know, but he was standing up there and saying, fellas, here's the thing about a role player. A role player is not who you are. It's who you are in the moment and what you're willing to do to win. Fire me up, Jay. Fire me up. But that's kind of how I feel about a bunch of these guys. I mean, maybe not stars, but they know their roles, and if they buy into it, and it's a long season. A lot of things can happen. A few bad plane rides and, a few losses in a row, and the mood shifts dramatically. And someone doesn't like a certain season, whatever it may be. But as of right now, vibes were big. We talked about them coming into the year. We believed that that's why Hawaii may have been on the docket this year, and vibes have been immaculate.
Vibes have not been immaculate the last few years. Even in the great moments, vibes have not always been immaculate.
Look at 2 years ago, Kolsky. After they win the NBA championship, they could not win a road game for months. Legit months.
Yeah, and there have been some rocky times in the locker room and on the floor over the last couple seasons, right? I'm sure there will be some rocky times on the floor this season, but it does feel like a group that's in a better spiritual place. Credit Hawaii, credit whatever you want. That stuff matters, because pretty much every time you've won, joy has been part of the story. The vibes have been part of the story. And one of the most notable things about your defining superstar, Stephen Curry, is the joy with which he plays the game of basketball, and even the joy with which he watches the game of basketball when he's not able to play. It's one of his defining characteristics and one of the things that makes him great. And to see this team achieve those levels of joy without his unique and remarkable ability, it does make you more positive about what's happening here this season. And beyond that, man, just like you're picking up wins you might not have expected to pick up, given that your star is hurt. Those are big wins. Every single win is big this year. you might last year, what was it? 3 games between like fourth place and 11th place. I mean, every game matters. And, if you had told me going in, you're playing New Orleans in a literal back-to-back, you're not going to have Steph or Wiggins or Melton for either night, I'd be happy with a split. So a sweep is excellent.
Excellent. We said the 3-1 stretch would be, we'd be happy with it. If they're missing Curry for 4 games, which we believe, even if the evaluation's good, they may just hold them out in Houston, right? Is that kind of because then Washington next and keep them ready for Boston. So we thought 3-1 would be a good stretch. And as of right now, take care of Houston on Saturday, and you could be looking at a potential 4-0 stretch. And then Steph Curry, fully healthy, coming off that sprained ankle with the reevaluation on Friday, but we expect everything is good there in Warriors world. Let's continue the conversation. Golden State Warriors prepare for that game on Saturday against the Rockets. What's the status with Wiggins moving forward and Draymond Green? A deeper dive on what makes him so damn good after he comes out today and not only defends, but he was the first player for the Warriors in double figures today. And a stat that Draymond Green now has, where when he hits threes, the Warriors win. We'll explain that coming up on Locked On Dubs. First, let's tell you about one of our sponsors. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and you get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you know what's coming next. Check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and you can do it all on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Golden State Warriors, who were -3.5 in the game. That's another cover. 4-1 on the season of the Warriors and 4-1 against the sports book. If you want to win some money on the Warriors and get some bonus bets in the action, visit FanDuel.com. All right, man, Draymond Green. What a game he had for the Warriors from every aspect. Vintage Draymond numbers, 5 of 11 from the floor, knocked down 3 3-pointers, 14, had 5 blocks in the game to go along with 6 assists, 4 rebounds. One of the original stat stuffers in the mid-2000s or the 2010s. One of the original stat stuffers, and that's what he does today. And here's a stat for everyone out there that I learned on the broadcast tonight. Warriors are now 53-7 when Draymond Green goes Draymond Green and knocks down 3 3-pointers. How about that? That's when you knew it was over early in the third quarter when he hit that third one. Said you can turn it off. Let's get ready for the postgame show, Kolsky.
Yeah. That's I wouldn't necessarily turn it off, but yes, it's when he provides offense. First of all, it usually means he's just overall locked in, right? So that is good. That's an overall good, usually signified by an offensive night. But also, yeah, he matters that much. That Draymond Green is and always has been one of the 2 or 3 most important players on this Warriors team, championship or not. And you'll be hard-pressed to find much bigger Klay Thompson fans than me, but there was never a point in the Warriors championship runs where if you had made me choose between Klay and Draymond, whose departure would hurt this team more, it was always Draymond. Because the uniqueness of what he's able to do and how well he fits with Steph, but also just what he's able to do in isolation like he did tonight, it's the most irreplaceable thing. Right? We keep saying it.
You can hear him through the TV talking on defense. He's so damn loud on D.
And you can get a night like tonight where he just, again, put Zion in the absolute torture chamber. And that is a guy that is incredibly difficult to do that to. Like, most teams go against the Pelicans thinking if Zion is healthy, that's been the challenge. But if he's healthy, thinking, you know what, like,
Let him get his 30.
he's going to get his because he's just going to barrel to the basket and nobody can really stop him. Tonight, Draymond Green largely stopped him. And you know, there's only a couple guys in the league that can really do that. It's impressive stuff. And to also do it on his best offensive night of the season, I want to say, it's great. And they couldn't have needed it more. And he knows on the back of a back-to-back against the team, you know, it really is tough to sweep these baseball series. Like, right when you need it, there he is. He'll have a statue one day.
I'm laughing, man. Late in the game, Podziemski got, I don't know who it was, got someone on the arm and clearly didn't get him based on the replay. And he wanted the challenge so bad. And Kerr's like, no. And you could tell Podziemski's, he's like, I didn't foul him. That's good defensive play. This goes in the box score. And I'm just laughing because earlier in the game, Draymond Green once again said, challenge it. They once again challenged it. He's now 4 for 4 on challenge.
Oh, then he got one wrong.
I didn't.
So he's 4 for 5 now.
Okay.
Yeah. But still, pretty good record. And the one he got wrong, I think he thought they might not catch what he did because he actually was clean up top where the ball was and had a handful of jersey that was what they called when they replayed it. So
Heard that one,
yeah, but most guys know, you know. It's weird to me how often dudes insist on a challenge when they obviously know they did this. But Draymond's been pretty good this year about judiciously going for the challenge. And overall, I think the Warriors have gotten better on challenges over time. Early on, Steve Kerr had a terrible record for challenges, if I remember correctly. But it's gotten better, I believe. And so far, so good this year overall.
So a couple things I wanted to get to, just the notes that I jot down during a game.
Sure.
I put Pods has more turnovers than a bakery at 8 a.m. That was early in the first half, and then he kind of settled down. But here's the nice thing about Pods, the nullifying moments where he turns it over, just kind of dribbling high, loses the ball, and then within 10 seconds, ragdolls, takes a charge, puts his body on the line, and gets up and just nullifies that turnover completely. It's like, well, yeah, he's got a turnover in the box score, but he didn't turn anything over. You know, Warriors got a fresh shot clock out of it. Let's put it that way. What was your name for Pods?
He was a crash test dummy tonight. I mean, he really does just throw his body into the fray, and results be damned. He is excellent at drawing charges.
Just slept on trait that really. Like, what?
It's not just that. It's every physical aspect of the game. It is rebounding. It is going for loose balls. It is
in the right
playing
pass in the lane.
It's every physical aspect of the game, and it's a little bit jarring because he doesn't look like that sort of guy. One of my favorite players of all time, who I always think of as the definitive, like, athletic, do everything, physical part of the game guy, was Gerald Wallace. Do you remember Gerald Wallace? Might be a little before your time.
I remember.
But
Bobcat, right?
I believe so. Yes, a Charlotte Bobcat. Yes, I thought you were talking about college. I don't know who he played for in college. Anyway, Gerald Wallace looks like the guy who's going to do that. Lanky, super athlete, right? Pods looks like he's going to be a shoot first combo guard, and instead he plays like a 6'7" wing super athlete in like this weird ginger body. It's an incredible thing to watch, and he really doesn't disappoint, man. He's the sort of player that you're going to see do his thing every night. He might not always shoot it great. He might turn it over more some nights than others, but he's never not going to impact the game in positive ways because he's just doing so much of it physically.
Coming up, A lineup that I'd like to never see the Golden State Warriors throw out there. I'm going to pitch it to Kolsky and see if maybe he has differing thoughts than me. Chat, you can get along with it as well. 0 negatives from this game today. After the Warriors
no notes
round in the turnover, 0 negatives. But there is one thing I want to bring up. It's just a lineup. Is it going to work? Did it work tonight? Doesn't look good necessarily on paper, the eye test, but hey, let's talk about it on Locked On Warriors. The lineup that I teased and the lineup we have to get to, I just put notes. Is Steve Kerr serious right now with this rotation? It was Podziemski, it was Gary Payton II, it was Draymond Green and Slow-Mo, and they're all at the same time. Can't remember who the fifth player was in that mix, but what do you think of that? GP2, Draymond, and Slow-Mo all in at the same time. It may have worked. I didn't look at the advanced metrics.
I think it's going to be tough to find situations where that lineup gives you advantages. But if, tonight, again, came down to the ability to play elite level defense as a team, and those three guys are elite team defenders. So I get it. Obviously, you're right. Like, that's a lot of not shooting on a team that in many ways thrives on shooting. It's hard to imagine a lot of scenarios where they're going to look for a lineup with three not so shooters.
It'd be different if Pods was shooting 40% and if the form looked, smooth, but it's slow to get off. It hasn't been good. Blame the mask, blame whatever you want to blame, but he does not look like someone that's going to, shoot 10 3-pointers and hit them in volume like Steve Kerr and Lacob made it seem like in all those athletic pieces in the offseason.
Yeah, I think we do. I think it's appropriate to give him the benefit of the doubt. No, yes, always. We always talk too much in the summer, but I do think it's fair to give him the benefit of the doubt with the friggin' mask. On the other hand, it's hard to care as much about it when he's doing all the things that he's doing and you're winning by 15 points. That's exactly right. And he's just so clearly a huge part of it. Yeah, he's 2 for 7 from 3 tonight, but even if you take out scoring, first of all, he still got the 13 points. Second of all, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, plus 13 on the night. Like, not a lot to be upset about in his overall performance. And there were shots to take tonight. Again, it's an 8-man rotation, and Kyle Anderson isn't going to shoot that much. So it's like 7 potential shot takers playing tonight, none of whom have an obvious, advantage as the go-to guy, with a possible exception of Buddy Hield, who did lead the team in shot attempts and points. So, get him up. Tonight's the night to get him up. If Steph Curry's out there, maybe, you stop when you're 1 for 4 rather than getting to 2 for 7. But overall, man, everybody is in on the good vibes. Nobody is out there bringing things down. The effort is on point, front to back. It really was an awesome night.
You know what the momentum shifter was to me? I'll give you a chance to guess. A clear momentum shifter when you just think about the game. Anything come to mind? And it wasn't slow-mo going Giannis coast to coast.
That was hilarious.
It was Buddy Hield's 3 at the end of the first half off an amazing pass from Draymond Green. Hield hammers it. And then you look at how the second half started. Warriors went on a 14-2 run. That's where the game
was another Hield 3, I think, that started the second half, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, you're probably right. There was sort of a turn that can always be huge. That big shot before halftime, it's a positive locker room. Even if you're talking about correcting things, you're feeling like you're headed the right direction. And that had been kind of a back and forth stretch at the end of the first half. So I like that call by you.
All right. So now's a good time to tell you about your favorite podcast. Hopefully now having a newsletter introducing the Locked On Warriors daily newsletter. Just got this thing off the ground. It's a one-stop for your ultimate team and league coverage. It's delivered right to your inbox. You can sign up for free at lockedondaily.com. That's lockedondaily.com. Comes with just a bunch of good nuggets to get to on lockedondaily.com. You could start with the all-new free Locked On Warriors newsletter. Also, after every single game, We're going to have the postcast with Eric Engel. Does those every game, and then Kolsky and myself just about every game. I mean, we'll miss a Saturday here and there, but aside from that, we'll be there first thing Sunday morning to break it down. So Monday through Friday, unless I'm using a rare vacation day, we're good to go, and we're bringing you content at all times. This is co-host choice, Kolsky. To end the night on a good note, I'm going to look at the laptop and act like I'm unattentive, but I'm going to be listening to everything you say as I pull up some of the comments and we answer them from the listeners and the viewers today. So your big standout, aside from Draymond Green, aside from the defense, what did you learn about the Golden State Warriors tonight?
Man, what did I learn about the Golden State
That
Warriors?
you didn't already.
I learned that they are a really resilient, together group. The Pelicans did try to come out with a lot of energy tonight, and like we were just saying, there were moments down the stretch of the first half where like nobody would have blamed this Warriors team if they put in a game effort and couldn't get it done on the back end of a back-to-back without two of their three best players, right? Nobody's upset about that. But instead, everybody who was out there, and by the way, most of the principal guys played more minutes tonight than they played last night. And all of them were playing their absolute tails off from beginning to end. And that, look, when you hold an NBA team to 89 points in 2024, that means you were working on defense. And it started with Draymond tonight, but it included everybody. And that, that's how you win a game against New Orleans in October without Steph Curry. But that's also how you win a playoff game with Steph Curry, So these things matter. And everybody feeling good about the way things are going, especially, when Steph isn't even here, is just an excellent thing. It really, it has me feeling excited about what this year can be. It really does.
All right, so that's the wrong one. That's the trombone. A little breaking.
Very different sound effects.
Yeah, very different sound effects. I mixed up the trombone with the air horn. Damn it! Air horn, not trombone. Buddy Hield on Draymond Green. This is in the post-game press conference about his 3 threes. Buddy Hield's quote, "I keep telling him he belongs to this world. Warriors want to shoot threes. I tell him he has a clip." What are your thoughts on Draymond Green just firing him every time he has space? Why not?
He's got to. And he's now, a year and 5 games into shooting very close to 40% once again from 3-point range. If he takes good ones that are in rhythm, it won't. If he shoots 39%, it won't be the first time in his career. It's been a minute before last year, right? There was a break where it seemed like he lost his shot, but for the last year plus, when he is in rhythm, he has shot the ball well. So absolutely, he should keep shooting them. That's what they want to do. As Kalena and Fitz love to remind us, a shot created is a shot that should be taken.
Let them fly, Draymond. Last topic I want to get to is just Podziemski. A little brief overview of his game today because the chat right now is loving it. We got G Bravo. Pods is a rock star. Pods is such an obvious, great championship caliber player. Pods, man, Pods. What do you make of them? I mean, the numbers, when you look at them, they're solid across the board. The shooting hasn't been as well as we would like. But to me, and you tell me if I'm missing something defensively, thought he got cooked a little bit last season. He seems to be at least on-ball defense from what you can see without looking at the tape. He seems like he locks down, man. He was locking down Harden a couple games ago, was locking down Lauri Markkanen for a few possessions. I mean, give him the assignment. It's not too big for him.
No assignment is too big for him. I'll agree with you there. He is going to work his tail off on defense. He's largely going to be in the right spots. He's never going to be a defensive player of the year, but he's, I would say, better than average on defense. And generally, Like, if you take better than average as an on-ball defender and add in what he's capable of doing just as a hustle player, taking charges, all that stuff,
Damn
he's
good.
a high-level defensive player, all things considered. I think I think that's fair. Again, there are things he won't be able to do because of who he is physically and his height, and that is what it is. But he's definitely going to get everything he can get out of himself as a defender, because as anyone who covers basketball always talks about, so much of the defensive end is effort, and you're not going to get a shortage of effort from Brandon Podziemski.
No doubt about it. This is Locked On Warriors, free and available wherever you get your audio podcast. No, we go with that one.
Air horn.
Warriors are 4-1 on the season. Peace.
Woo!